Hello everyone, I'm Carthu and welcome back to the Dojo. Today, we are talking about something a little bit different on the channel, something I usually don't cover, and that is because it took this long for me to get a game that I'm actually excited for to come out. That's right, we have Dragon Ball Project Z's gameplay and trailer to break down today. I'm going to break down every aspect of it, from the actual things we see on screen to the actual developer of the game and some concerns and positives that we can have from that developer being involved. Regardless of all of that, I am very, very excited about this game. I know you guys are killing to get into this breakdown. I just wanted to preface that this will be different for the few of you who know this channel as mostly the anime discussion and manga discussion channel. This is going to be about the games for once, and perhaps, even when the game comes out, I may play it on the channel as well. That seems like it'd be something fun to do. Alright, video intro. So, Dragon Ball Project Z, an action RPG, is, well, an action RPG. And what does that mean for me personally? Well, it is my favorite genre of video games. I love action RPG games. I always flock towards them my entire life. Turn-based has always pushed me away. Fighting games have been too precise for my liking. I like the action RPG elements in video games that they really ground me. They really give me some weight behind combat and some versatility that I think, fighting games have and lack at the same time depending on the fighting game. Moving on from that, this actually does have potentially become one of my favorite TV games because of that, and a focus on combat and player choice in combat is a must for this game to succeed. What do I mean by that? Well, in a fighting game, or a turn-based game, you usually have options to counter specific measures, but those options are usually fairly limited to the correct response. In action RPG games, ones that are done well, you usually do have a correct response, you have a less correct response, and the list can actually go on nearly infinitely if the action RPG is done well, of responses you could have to a situation, some of them being equally correct at the same time. That's the type of gameplay we need in this type of game. We need to have the versatility in combat, that combat doesn't become this stagnant thing where you do the same 4 button presses every single time to defeat an enemy. Combat must be versatile. That is a definite must of any action RPG game, and I'm really hoping they focus on the combat more than anything else, since that is the real driving force behind an action RPG game, hence the action in the name. Moving forward from that, we have the story, and really no surprise, it is a game about Dragon Ball Z, and it's a story of Dragon Ball Z. Now, in the trailer, we only see up to Frieza, which makes me wonder if the other stuff, everything beyond Frieza, will be DLC. There seems to be a good chance that they have not gone past Frieza, and they might not until DLC rolls around, and you pay for the season pass and you get the androids and Boo and everything like that. Potentially. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they'll come out with everything from Raditz to Boo. Maybe it'll be right on the disc, right on the download when you get it. More importantly than that, though, is that we have a Piccolo versus Goku fight at the very beginning of this trailer. Now, this Piccolo versus Goku fight is obviously something that did not happen in the main series, but I'm thinking this Piccolo versus Goku fight is actually a tutorial for the game, and it's actually your first taste of combat because they want every other instance of canon, quote-unquote, combat fights that actually happen in the series to feel real and nice. You don't want Raditz to become a fight where you're just doing the tutorial. They want Raditz to feel like a good fight all the way to Frieza or Boo or wherever they end this game. So that's really important to note as we move on to the developers, who are CyberConnect 2. Now, many of you may be familiar with the name CyberConnect 2, and some people even knew that it was them straight from the graphics being revealed in the image that I used most likely in the thumbnail for this video, and that's probably been on screen this whole video right now. CyberConnect 2 is famous for making Asura's Wrath, which is a game I personally really enjoy, and the Ninja Storm series, which I think has highs and lows. The lows being usually in sequential order. Now, they sometimes rely too heavily on QTEs, those are quick time events, in gameplay, and I think that's a real negative. I also think their combat has lost some of the weight it used to have. It used to really feel like you had real meat behind your attacks and real finesse, and now it kind of feels a little bit floatier than it used to. Not bad by any means, but it's just a little bit worse than it used to be. However, if this gameplay is more like Asura's Wrath than Ninja Storm 4, I think I'll be pretty happy with it. QuickTime events also are already noticeable in this trailer, and that's a little scary, but hopefully they are limited to just about what we see in the trailer. The first thing is definitely the beam struggles that we see. You know, Piccolo versus Goku has a beam struggle, Vegeta versus Goku has a beam struggle, and I think those are obvious places that QuickTime events will be used. Some less obvious examples may even be the training with King Kai that Goku does, where he has to blow up the rock. That seems like a great spot for a QTE. I don't know how else you would portray that with a combat system, so QTE could work there. You could also perhaps apply this to the Nappa Kaioken scene, where Goku has to rush to save Krillin and Gohan from the wrath of Nappa, who's just been beaten by this low-class warrior. Sure, make that QuickTime event. I don't think you could really portray it in combat any better than that. Now, the Spirit Bomb may also be a QuickTime event. I'm sure some of you are already commenting that, and it could be, but just the way it was portrayed in this trailer, it looked a lot like a cinematic to me, but of course cinematics can be overlaid with QuickTime events for sure, and then they just have an alternate outcome depending on if you succeed or not. I completely understand that. It may be a QTE. For now, I'm a little bit hesitant. I think everything I said before the Spirit Bomb is more likely, and again, in sequential order. Moving on from that, though, a lot of people are wondering, is this game going to be an open-world game? And I have no idea. It's very hard to tell from what they showed us. You see Goku just walking past iconic locations, and sure, that may seem as if we're slowly transitioning from those places to places, but how do you get to Master Roshi's Island then? Do you fly? Can you fly in the open world if it is an open world? How does this work? We're not really sure. It could be level-based, could be open world, though I think that last shot with the camera pulling away from Goku from behind and showing us the wide vista in front of him makes me think that it may be a bit more open world than level-based. At the very least, the levels will be big, based off that image alone. And to wrap up this video, we have the end screen. The end screen is pretty basic. We've already covered most of what's on it, actually. This game will be for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, which is very in line with CyberConnect 2's past games, as well as in line with the Xenoverse series and Fighters. This game is also coming out on the Unreal 4 engine. Well, most likely 4, it just says Unreal. I'd assume Unreal 4. No one really uses 3 anymore. Unreal 4 would be a good engine choice, I think, and Unreal 4 is very heavily supported, and it's been very heavily maintained. It's a very good engine, in my opinion, especially in the modern age when it's been fully integrated and people have really been working on it for a long time. And so, my final opinion on this game, so far anyway, is that story-wise, I'm here or there. You know, it's just a Dragon Ball game following the Dragon Ball Z storyline. We've seen it a million times. We know that happens. Hopefully there is something else to the game that gives us a little bit more variety in the storylines and maybe something a bit more interesting, but maybe not. Maybe we won't be that lucky. If it does follow that story, that's fine. It is a good story. It's just one that we're very used to, and it's been repeated multiple times. You also have the gameplay, which I think the combat has a good chance of being weighty. I'm hoping that CyberConnect 2 is really learning to go back to their old ways. I have no evidence of that. I'm just hoping that with a new IP under their belt and not just another Ninja Storm franchise, they really want to start with a good example, and the developers may have more love for a new franchise rather than just going back to Naruto for the millionth time. I'm really hoping that this game does get the love it deserves. And as a last thing, which is sort of a con, I'd say, are the QuickTime events. I think QuickTime events are good in certain places and sparingly. They need to feel impactful to be impactful. However, if QuickTime events are used in every major fight and every scene and every little thing that we do, well, they lose impact and they actually just feel like a monotonous mechanic rather than an impactful scene where you really feel, oh crap, I have to do this to survive. If you compare the two examples that we actually have from the video, you know, blowing up a rock on King Kai's doesn't feel like, oh, it's necessary to survive, whereas a beam struggle really does feel like it's life or death if I mess this up. Beyond that, guys, I think I do have a very, very good impression of this game so far. I'm very excited. The graphics look amazing. I didn't talk about them much because I thought they were pretty self-explanatory, but they do look amazing. Very, very excited, and hope you guys are as well. Leave some opinions, counterpoints in the comments down below. Hit subscribe, the notification bell if you want more content about this. Make sure you hit like on this video too. That'll make me gauge if you guys want more videos about this game. Check out Patreon and the t-shirt if you want to support me externally from YouTube. But for now, guys, video outro.